How did the Soviet Union break up? The Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, also known as the Soviet Union, was a union of 15 socialist republics spanning 20.24 million square kilometers from the Black Sea and the Baltic Sea to the Pacific Ocean. When and how was this union formed? When and how did the countries join, and when and how did it break, and which countries came into existence after the break? And are they allies of Russia today? This is all we will tell you. Background. The Russian Empire was a vast empire until the beginning of the 20th century and included 15 states in the later Soviet Union, as well as parts of Finland, Poland, and Turkey. After the Russian Revolution of 1917, Vladimir Lenin overthrew the government of Tsar of Russia Nicholas II, and then a civil war broke out between the supporters of Vladimir Lenin and the opponents of the revolution. These supporters and opponents are known as the Reds and the Whites respectively. This war was won by Lenin's supporters, and the four socialist republics of the old Russian Empire, Russia, Belarus, Ukraine, and Transcaucasian republics came into existence. At the end of the Civil War, an agreement was signed between these four republics in December 1922. Under this agreement, the Soviet Union came into existence. The first country in this union was Russia, Ukraine, and Belarus became part of this union. Apart from these three republics, Transcaucasian republics including Georgia, Azerbaijan, and Armenia also became a part of this union. These six republics initially joined the Soviet Union. In 1924, two Central Asian republics of Turkmenistan and Uzbekistan also joined Soviet Union. The alliance gradually grew, and in 1929 Tajikistan also joined the alliance. In 1936, the Soviet Union was joined by Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan, and the number of republics included in this alliance became 11. In 1940, during World War II, four more republics were added to the Soviet Union, and the total number of republics became 15. In addition to Moldova, other republics that joined in 1940 included the three Baltic states of Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia. These 15 republics combined to form the grandest and largest Soviet Socialist Union in human history. The Soviet Union and World War II. Shortly before the start of World War II, the Non-Aggression Pact was signed between the Soviet Union and Germany, in which both bodies promised not to take any military action against each other for the next 10 years. But something happened on the contrary, when during the war, Germany violated the agreement and attacked the Soviet Union. In this situation, the Soviet Union had to join the Allies. As they say, the enemy of the enemy is your friend. Something like this happened because the Soviet Union, Great Britain, and the United States had a common enemy, the Germany, so in these circumstances, the Soviet Union joined the Allies. However, the war ended in the victory of the Allies. The United States and the Soviet Union emerged as two major world powers. After World War II, the ideological differences between the United States and the Soviet Union brought them to face each other. United States was a supporter of the liberal democratic and capitalist system, while the Soviet Union was a communist alliance, and the United States did not want communism to grow in any way in the world. Therefore, this ideological difference became another conflict situation, and the Cold War started between two powerful countries of the world. After the Great War, because Great Britain and France were in danger that the Soviet Union could take any action against them, and there were fears of Germany regaining strength to some extent, so in view of these conditions, the United States, Canada, and other Western European nations formed the NATO alliance in 1949. The main purpose of forming it was to adopt a common strategy against the ideological expansionist ambitions of the Soviet Union and to strengthen their defense. In response to this agreement, the Soviet Union signed the Warsaw Pact in 1955 with other Eastern and Central European nations, including Albania, Hungary, Poland, Czechoslovakia, Bulgaria, Romania, and East Germany against NATO in order to maintain balance of power. Although the United States and the Soviet Union were not directly at war with each other, the effects of the Cold War on the wars going on in the world at that time were visible. These wars were fought in Korea and Vietnam, and in these wars, both power blocs helped their ideological supporters in every possible way. This Cold War between the Soviet Union and the United States was not limited to proxy wars, but both world powers wanted to dominate each other in every way. This war also included conquering space, and in October 1957, the Soviet Union overtook the United States by sending its first artificial satellite into space, but the United States won the race to reach the moon first. In the same period, both the world powers were actively experimenting with each other in the race of nuclear weapons. Why did the Soviet Union break up? It was an unnatural union, and it was difficult to last for a long time. Besides, there are some reasons for its breakup, which we will mention to you. Since the beginning of the Cold War that started after the Second World War, the economy of the Soviet Union had been suffering from a severe decline. The standard of living had started to decline. Due to the poor economy, it was difficult for the Soviet Union to compete with the United States in the arms race. To top it all off, the Soviet Union jumped into an unnecessary war in Afghanistan in 1979, which made the situation worse. In these circumstances, in 1985, Communist Party politician Mikhail Gorbachev emerged as the leader of the Soviet Union. Therefore, in this situation, he first adopted the policy of glasnost, openness, to give some freedom to the citizens. During his time, political prisoners were released. Now newspapers could criticize the government. Apart from the Communist Party, now other parties could also participate in the election. The second policy he adopted was economic restructuring to put the economy on a better path, and this policy was called perestroika. Now, for the first time in the Soviet Union, people were allowed to private businesses. He also opened the Soviet Union to foreign investment. Mikhail Gorbachev also believed that for a better economy of the Soviet Union, it was also necessary for the Soviet Union to expand its relations with other countries of the world. In addition, he adopted a policy of non-intervention and in 1989 announced the withdrawal of his forces from Afghanistan, where they had been fighting since 1979. All these measures were very good, but it was too late. In the late 1980s, independence movements began to emerge from within the Soviet Union, and the countries in the alliance began to declare their independence one by one. The beginning of the collapse of the Soviet Union. The disintegration of the Soviet Union began in 1988 when the first Baltic state of Estonia declared to be a separate independent republic. After that, in 1989, Azerbaijan declared secession along with the remaining two Baltic states, Lithuania and Latvia. In 1990, the remaining republics of the Soviet Union, Georgia, Ukraine, Moldova, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Armenia, Turkmenistan, Belarus, and Kazakhstan also declared their independence. On December 25, 1991, the flag of the Soviet Union was hoisted for the last time and the anthem of the Soviet Union was played for the last time, and finally on December 26, 1991, the existence of the Soviet Union ended forever, and 15 new independent states came into existence on the map of the world. It is interesting thing here that out of the 15 countries of the Soviet Union, 3 Baltic countries, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania have now joined NATO, that is, the same alliance that was formed against the Soviet Union in 1949, now the countries of Soviet Union are part of NATO. Rather, Ukraine, included in the Soviet Union, now also wants to be a part of the NATO alliance. Apart from this, the Warsaw Pact, that is, the alliance that was formed in response to NATO, all its member countries except Russia have now joined NATO.